Do you remember the Nirma ad jingle?
Washing powder Nirma.
Washing powder Nirma.
ಹಾಲಿನಂತ ಬಿಳುಪು ನಿರ್ಮಾಸೆಯಾಯಿ ರಂಗೀನ ಕಪಡ
खिले खिले जाए
Nirma. How about the Lifebuoy ad jingle?
ಲೈಫ್ ಬಾಯ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆಯೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ
लाइफ बॉय है जहाँ
ತಂದಿರುಸ್ತಿ
Can you hum the Airtel jingle?
Yeah, yeah, Raman one. Do 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 do.
Can you sing any jingle from the past decade?
No.
No.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Anatomy of Advertising. Today we have a special guest with us, Daanish, former CMO of Playo. Hello. And also a fellow friend of mine. We studied in the same college, although different batch. Both of us are engineers currently doing
marketing,
different types of jobs.
Thank you for having me here, Madan. I think apart from our alumni relations, friend relations, I think we've also worked together as a client and an agency. So we've seen different aspects of each other. Super excited to be here.
Thank you very much for coming today. So majorly our topic today is about the curious case of missing jingles. Where did they go? So Danish, starting from engineering to now marketing, advertising, henge, why?
I think back in college or maybe even back in childhood, right? My dad was, I would call him Quick Gun Murugan, because as soon as the ad is about to play, the remote would switch to a different channel. And I'm like, why did you do this? I wanted to see the ad, right? So I loved the aspect of telling a story in 30 seconds or lesser, right? And creating an impact. And it's not just a story which made you feel good. Along with that, you're also selling a product. So the challenges are crazy. And if someone was able to impress me in those 30 seconds, that's something I would remember more than a movie. That's what got me intrigued about ads.
There were times when we remembered the ads more than a particular movie.
Yeah.
So if I ask you a couple of ads that you remember from your childhood.
I remember during a college fest when the auditorium would go silent or whatever, I would quickly take my phone, go to the mic and play the Nirma ad, and suddenly there was laughter and whatnot in the room, right?
Yeah.
But I think for me the classic has been Hamara Bajaj. It made a simple two-wheeler a family member.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it wasn't, the visuals helped, but I think what stuck with us is the jingle behind it.
Yeah.
It spoke about the country, it spoke about feelings, emotions. So it was everything that we wanted, and we still hum to it, we sing it. Some of us even know the lyrics, right? So that is so weird about an ad that was trying to sell us something.
ये ज़मीं ये आसमां हाँ ये ज़मीं ये आसमां हमारा बजाज.
And probably we might not even have the bike or the scooter in the house, but still I feel like I know the bike or I know the scooter. It is part of the family.
Exactly.
Of everybody's, whether they own it or not.
Yeah, the influence of ads has been very deep. Also, it becoming our ringtones, our caller tunes.
Correct. So as a marketer in the industry for more than 10 years now, what do you think, how does Dingle play a role in terms of the brand recall? Or
I think recall itself is super hard in today's day and age, right? And there are, like we spoke about, two challenges: telling a story and selling a product in the same 30 seconds. But now you have to do it in 5 seconds. And then you have to do it in a medium where maybe people are consuming content in mute.
Oh yeah.
The challenges have increased with time. So I think ad makers have chosen battles that they can fight. I think the 2010s, right, the teens of 2000s, I think people chose the huge bold text coming on ads, because back then you're scrolling on Instagram or Facebook, you're maybe at work and you can't really see an ad. You still want to consume the ad without losing context. So I think advertisers went for the mute version also, where my ad can work in the mute version and in the non-muted version, right? But I think it's making a comeback purely because how the short format content, which is the vertical format, the reels and the stories, they are heavily dependent on background score, the background music, right?
Yeah.
So you might be consuming content on mute, but there are some reels which need you to switch on the audio, right? You turn it on. So that opens up a new door for an ad maker, that music or audio could be a lever that I can use in my ad. So I think it is making a comeback, but recall perspective, I think I've missed my jingles over the last 15 years, at least 10 years, 15 years clearly. I think the last good jingle I remember is maybe Kingfisher, which is
still little relevant.
Yeah, still relevant. I don't know which other, I can't, that's the problem, right? You spoke about recall and I cannot recall a recent jingle.
Yes.
Right? So that's the problem. But I think it could make a comeback. But I still think advertisers should explore. They should be bolder. It might increase your production budget, but go the extra mile and maybe explore.
Because if you look at it, some of our greatest music directors also kind of debut I still remember one of the first A.R. Rahman's jingle was that for the coffee brand in Tamil Nadu before the Airtel thing.
Okay.
That was one of his first independent work before he entered into the film industry. And I still remember that song, a girl coming down from the steps of an old Tamil Nadu house.
லியோ காஃபி பாரம்பரியம் சுவைமிக்க காஃபி லியோ காஃபி காலத்தை வென்ற ரசனை இதுவே.
I also feel like we are not able to see that, where like the prominent music directors are not part of the mainstream ads or the jingle making as such, where they're not adding value to the brand.
So Airtel, I think, is one of, I think, maybe I don't know my music directors too well, but Airtel is
Airtel is
iconic. I still hear it if I'm on a public transport. I'm in the metro. Or
it was my ringtone for a very long time.
Why wouldn't you? And then the remixes that came on top of them, like clearly shows how important a jingle was, and it made the brand more local. It made Airtel wasn't one thing we didn't know what a cell phone coverage was. We all we knew was BSNL, right? So breaking BSNL's trust and entering a common man's house, right? I think the jingle got it through.
Can you hum the jingle?
Not very good with that. How does it go? You can give me a prompt. You can start off.
Sounds cool. Hey, do you want to hear this? It's nice.
You want to add something more?
Living a dream, living a home, let the rhythm take control. Living this day, living it now, live the moment right now.
We still remember a lot of it. And one of my favorite ads even today in theatre, two ads that I wait very excitingly is Vico Turmeric.
Still, yeah.
And they still use the 15 to 20-year-old jingle, right? And the other one, which is not something that I love, but I still remember it a lot, is the Lyra jingle.
Yeah, same here.
Lyra.
That's a jingle which they've used constantly.
That is the only music that they use. They have different versions of it.
And Titan had an amazing jingle.
What I loved about especially the Titan is that over a period of the last decade, I remember the different variations of the song also.
Exactly, yes.
It has initiated a nostalgia emotion as well as a romantic emotion in me. Yes. Both. There was a Titan mechanical ad, I think 2 or 3 years ago, done by Nirvana Films.
Moves your world. Titan Mechanical.
They recomposed the jingle of Titan to show a new mechanical watch that they had done. And the tone of that, then there was another ad where Rajkumar Rao offers a CEO job.
Yes.
Remember the cafe thing?
Exactly.
CEO job for his boss in his new startup.
अच्छा तुम कोई CEO ढूंढ रहे थे ना? मिला है कोई? But I never hired a CEO before, so I don't know how.
Simple. Meet him and tell him you're the guy for the job.
इतना simple कैसे हो सकता है सर?
It is.
Really?
Yeah.
Then you're the guy for the job, sir.
Titan, your time has come.
That had a completely different emotion that invoked. But I could still connect both of those to be the Titan.
That's beautifully.
Different mixing and different instruments.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's it. I mean, I was just checking out a few ads over the last week and I saw a few chocolate brands trying to bring in music where if it was luxury chocolate, the jingle was more in English because you can't oversell chocolate, right? Everyone knows that it's a great product. How do I stand out? I think people are exploring different themes. I can't make it too funny. I can't make it too serious. So I think people are using prominent faces. I think Saif and Karina were on one of the ads. With it was a premium chocolate. I can't remember. That's the problem, right? Like recall
illa.
Yeah. So I think Dairy Milk was using a few chocolate.
Dairy Milk always used
Itna maza aayega.
That was for the kids Dairy Milk. Now for the Silk they have a different How Far Will You Go for Love.
Exactly. So I think jingles are relevant, but maybe not as relevant. Like I said, there could be a comeback. Pulling back on the thread that you gave me, right? Other, iconic jingles for me, I think Ujala.
Do boond wala.
Yeah.
Aaya naya Ujala, do boond wala. Yeah, correct.
आया नया उजाला चार बूंदों वाला इंस्टा वायलेट कॉन्सेंट्रेट कपड़ों के रेशे तक जाए सफेदी का नया रंग लाए
Ujala Supreme.
चार बूंदों वाला
Why do I remember this?
Yes.
Right.
Uselessly taking the brain space there.
I didn't know when the product should be used. I didn't know who should be using the product.
Yes, correct. And we've never used it.
I had white uniform, so I saw it on the washing machine once in a while. So, very strange, right? That we remember these jingles. But I think there was a need for jingles back then.
Why do you think so?
The audience back then had one form of consuming content. And that was a a boon and a bane, right? A boon because you're not distracted. I can't really switch. I have to keep you engaged, and
Correct.
so my audience is still looking at the TV. But I think the problem with this type of content, it was too much pressure on the ad maker to sell too much in that 30 seconds, right? Ad spaces were also expensive. Today we understand going to the meta level and telling a story, and the audience understands clever storytelling.
Yeah.
Back then, I couldn't measure my ads as well as I could.
Yeah,
right
today.
now. My distribution was limited, and I had to have the same language on newspaper, on my pamphlets, and my TV.
Correct.
So, having all these constraints, I think people gave a banger. And this was, I'll make maybe 2 ads a year.
In a year,
right?
correct.
And my production cost could be high, but I'm going to invest in all aspects of my ad. The actor, the visuals, the audio, the set, all of that, right?
Yeah.
Today, I need to make 20-30 ads a year. So that's, I think, what's changed. And also, I think audio played a big part in the story itself. If you observe closely, I don't remember the story of Nirma, Ujala. It all seemed like a dance number, like it was a song where people danced in.
You remember the visuals and the audio, but not necessarily the story part of it.
But these days, I think people are sort of immune to those kind of things. If you see someone dancing and selling you candy or ice cream, they're like, dude, I'm not that stupid. I know this is an ad. So I think ad fatigue has hit us.
Yeah,
so
definitely. We're consuming a lot, not necessarily only in the advertising as such. Overall content consumption itself is huge.
True.
So that fatigue is there.
Yeah.
I think radio also played a huge part in terms of we being toned to the audio first approach.
In the past, radio was a big part of our life. I think a TV was a luxury. Every 3 houses had one TV possibly.
Correct.
But every house had a radio. Radio had more penetration, and audio therefore was important. And for me to have the same ad on TV and on radio, the only link is audio. My jingle had to be the hero. Today, radio is very sweetly placed in my car where I'm stuck in traffic, I'm frustrated, and I have time. Unfortunately, I feel radio companies are overdoing it, and that's when I tune out and jump onto a different
radio station.
It
is the same habit of mine also, is that in between song, if the ad comes, then I end up switching the station to go to a different thing.
I don't think I will tune into a radio station to listen to an ad, but if you can allow me to not
skip it,
yeah,
that's good enough.
That's great. I think you've got my attention. Just a couple of days back, I came across an indie artist, an indie music band collaborating with a Chinese instant noodle company. There's a company called Walk Talk. Right? Have you heard the Malabar?
Oh, yeah. Malabar Bank.
Malabar Bank. Yeah.
Boy, you're a banger, Malabar gang. मैं जा रहा कितनी point
Chinese पर अपने स्टाइल से, वैसे ही जैसे वॉक टॉक के नए इंस्टेंट नूडल्स, 5 डिफरेंट फ्लेवर्स पर अपने स्टाइल से.
I don't know what the lyrics mean. I love the music and it went so well with the song. So
I actually did not know what the product is.
Yeah.
But I just enjoyed the content piece and we are still talking about it.
I think what Rahman did in 2010s with Airtel, I think indie artists have scope of doing that with brands now, and maybe that could be their step into stardom of their own kind. Like, I don't know, possibly. Maybe I'm no one to say that, but that could be the...
I mean, because of social media, what is happening is that, what I think, again, this is my opinion, is that if indie music becomes a hit, like a hook step hit or a reel hit as such today on Instagram or any other social media, then the brands generally end up picking it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not the other way around, where the brands or the agencies scout an indie artist, pick them up, and then hence the artist became popular because of a particular campaign is very rare. I think that is one very good interesting thing that you also mentioned, like the indie artists being seen as especially in the last 5-6 years, the indie artist getting the limelight is extraordinary, and we are exposed to a lot of different types of music genres and the style. I'm a huge fan of the Malayalam indie music scene and everything. And we have also worked with Swaratma for quite a few years with the music videos and all of it. That is one of the projects that I love really a lot, is that the project started as a independent music videos, which is the Beta Sweater Pehno, which is actually was inspired by the polo ad.
बेटा स्वेटर पहनो नहीं तो लगेगी सर्दी ये सीखो वो भी सीखो डालो स्कूल की वर्दी ना 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 मन को अपनी समझा
So the music video was actually inspired by an ad. I mean the lyrics of that, and then Vasu Dikshit and his band actually created the music of it, and we helped them to do the
I love the
story.
I love the video.
Yeah. Oh, even I consider it one of our best works as such. And then what happened is that the Mirinda loved the music video so much that they ended up having as part of their exam pressure campaign, which eventually ended up winning a Cannes Silver as part of a group Mirinda entire campaign. This was one of the ads as such.
On the portfolio.
So this is one really good example or an experience that I have where we did not intend the music to be part of a campaign or anything, but we started it as like an independent music. This is something that I would also want to love, and something that we also try and explore as much as possible, where this indie music and the brand, I would love to see that just as an audience, forget about as a creator or anything.
But what do you think? Like you have to choose between a viral storytelling ad, a visual ad, versus a brilliant audio ad, right? Which one would you pick? Which one from an agency perspective?
Today, there are two things that we, most of the times we end up having a discussion even with the brands and internally when we are having the brainstorm. There's the two factors that we consider a lot is that shareability of a particular ad piece or a content piece or anything. At the same time, the recall value or the rememberability of a particular idea. I think when this comes, the visuals, the relatability, or especially the humor being one of the major factor when it comes to the shareability part of it. The relatability, either you write a slice of life kind of a concept or an idea, could be a meme or just could be a exaggerated humor or a relatable humor also. This adds to the shareability factor of it.
Right.
But when it comes to the recall or the rememberability part, how many, you might have shared 10 reels to 5 of your friends or 10 of your friends yesterday.
Right.
Do you remember which are those reels? Can you recall them?
No.
That is where majority of our brain portion is given to the optical part of it, the visual part of it, and hence we end up getting excited by the visuals.
Right.
But we remember the taste, smell and the sound of certain things very well,
Right.
because that has more long-lasting effect. I end up remembering the smells of certain things rather than the visuals of it. So that is where the sound effects comes in, where it could be SFX, it could be the like just the Netflix stardom or the HBO opening part of it.
Yeah.
I mean GOT, the moment I hear the GOT opening song after the HBO part of it, I get the entire emotion of the Game of Thrones series. I not get a particular scene or anything. That emotional recall is something that only audio or even the smell can do it, but unfortunately the kind of format that we are working with, audio plays a huge role in that. So this is what we always try and end up pitching to the clients and everything, saying that yes, you keep the visual and the script and the idea part for the shareability or the relatability factor, but when it comes to the recall, audio plays a very important role.
You know what audio was? Audio was ketchup before in 90s and early, right? It made food taste good, better, right? But today I think it's become salt, where you cannot make the food without it, but you don't even know it's there. So I think that's what's happened to the audio segment in an ad.
Just to conclude our conversation, if today, as someone who has experienced in this field for 12 years, 13 years now?
10, let's call it 10.
10 years, a decade in this. If I would ask you to give, like, what are the 3 takeaways from the kind of discussion, the curious case of missing jingles, what would be those 3 takeaways that you would give for the new marketers or people who are coming into this field as such?
I think audio is not dead. Not dead means not saying it's alive. So there are not too many people looking at it, which means it's a huge opportunity for you.
Yeah. So you have less traffic in terms of different brands competing for your space.
You could shine there just because people aren't looking at it, and you could become a case study tomorrow that how this company in the age of abundance of audio was able to shine, right? Yeah. The second takeaway is I think invest in audio, but maybe in bits. It need not be a hero, but don't make it a background actor too.
Yeah.
Keep it in the forefront somewhere, maybe not in the whole story, but somewhere at the beginning, at the end, or in the middle. I think audio cues are important. They help in recall.
Invest in that, even if it is a small portion. True. Is basically.
Yeah, don't pick up stock music.
Try and not stick to only stock music only.
If you don't know which music to use, then don't start composing, but piggyback on existing creators and indie artists. That could be a good starter to check if
collaborating with indie artists, where even in terms of for the smaller and the medium scale companies and the brands also, it might work out where you need not have to go to the famous composer. Yeah.
I think a lot of the thinkers, right, or the executioners have these ideas, but I think the leaders in the space were very right-brained, the creative brain, but I think leadership, the more you move up, you start becoming left-brained, and data, conversions, these are things that you only talk about, right? So maybe if leaders can take a bet on thinkers and executioners to give new genres a chance, new forms of ads a chance, I think, or maybe even getting back older ideas a chance, we might see magic. I hope leaders pick up on these trends.
So it was an incredible conversation, Daanish. Thank you very much.
Had a lovely conversation.
So
let's check brand recall, right? If audio actually has brand recall or not. I have a list of brand sounds. These are the audio signatures which I was talking about. So let's see how many you get right.
Chocolate.
It's McDonald's.
Oh yeah. Netflix. Intel.
Amazon Prime.
Prime. Okay, yeah, correct. Windows boot up. HBO. And then it has to be followed with
Game of Thrones.
This is Intel. Can you guess this one?
Little.
And who was the actor?
I think it was Preeti Zinta.
See?
Which was this?
Action shows.
Which pharma company do you think has used Jingles?
Sirf ek sad. See?
Last one from me.
Ponds.